Okay, so truth can be subjective, so what's the point of having a conversation?
Well, there's empiricism as well. That is a kind of truth that I subscribe to.
But you just contradicted yourself because you said truth is subjective, but empiricism is a type of truth.
What? I just contradict. Say again.
Science is the best representation of truth. That statement. Can you empirically test that statement?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, using the scientific method.
If you manage to do that, you will win the Nobel Prize. I promise you. Do you know why? Because that statement is a self-refuting statement.
I don't think so.
Well, you just did it.
Why?
I just laid out a little nice hole,
Yeah.
and I asked you to walk, and you walked into it. So you have taken that blanket belief with a frog that you never knew existed before this conversation,
right,
and you've applied that belief to that reality. Do you know what that actually is? That's a religion.
Yeah.
So if your argument is
guy.
scientific technology is a
Heisenberg,
benchmark for whether you're right or wrong,
Exactly.
then you'd have to agree the Nazis were correct.
Exactly.
They were great scientists, I'll give them that.
No,
Yeah.
but were they morally superior to the West?
No, of course not.
Okay,
Well, they
so
are
your
West.
argument
They
just
are
fell
the
apart.
West.
Your argument just fell apart. Because you said we are technologically in the West superior, right? And that was supposed to be an argument for the higher moral standard in the West, correct? And according to your own logic, the Nazis, you should be in favor of them because they were one time superior in the world.
Specific part of technology. I would say
Okay, that's a different argument.
He was saying
you
that,
just put words in my mouth, and now you're trying to make me argue your point.
he was saying that Islam is more effective than democracy.
No, I didn't say that.
No, we say that.
I didn't say that.
No.
Look, Islam is not a voting process here. Yeah? We have a concept of shura where people come together.
But what happened to Islam? Why did it stop being a,
You know what?
leading member of science?
Good point. What happened?
Yeah.
Because there was a time,
Yeah.
by the way, it was the Muslims, in case you didn't know. Yeah? I'm not sure enough, I'm not trying to be arrogant. If it wasn't for Muslims, you would not be as scientific advanced as you are today.
Yeah, they
It
were
was-
the
it
first
was
kind of
first
scientific
scientists.
method.
The
No.
Yeah,
I didn't say
they-
it the first. I'm saying we
they had-
developed
they had-
science.
And your question is this, right? Why is the Muslim world behind? Right? That's your question.
Why have they stopped?
Why have they stopped? Well, you have to understand, sir, about 90 years ago, I'm just giving you a statistic, 95% of the Muslim world was under Western occupation.
Right, but it happened before that, didn't it?
So if, like, let me just put it this way, right? There's times where a civilization is at its peak and there's times where it goes down and then it's a cycle. You can't just take one snapshot of history and therefore say we are superior than the other.
I think it's like
What you have to
1,000
do
years.
is
It's a
you
little
have
bit
to
more than a
understand.
snapshot.
You have to understand. There's a whole bunch of social, moral, political, and other types of influences within the world which dictate whether one civilization is superior to another.
I appreciate
You
that
can't
entirely.
take a snapshot in
It's not a
history and say
snapshot.
therefore the West is superior to Islam.
I didn't say the West was superior. I said that there's certain systems in place.
Look, sir, the point is this, yeah, is that is not an argument to make to falsify something. To say, just because you don't have scientific advancement, therefore you must be upon falsehood or you can't be true. No.
That's the implicit assumption.
Islam is not a scientific method. Yeah? We have a problem with science. Islam goes hand in hand with science. Islam promotes science. Science has its place. Islam has its other place. Science tells you the how. Islam tells you the why. You see the point?
I do.
Yeah? So you can be a Muslim and you can be a scientist. Yeah? We don't have this thing that the earth was created 7,000 years ago. The Christians believe in that, by the way, yeah? We don't believe in this nonsense type of stuff. There's nothing in science which is scientifically contradictory. Islam is not a scientific religion. It's not a religion that says it's about science.
Do you not believe in the miracles professed in the Quran then?
Yes, we believe in the miracles, yes.
But a miracle, by its definition, is something that can't really happen.
No, why is that?
Well, it's just it works in.
Sorry, what did you say?
Well, like it works in contrary to our understanding of the reality, right? Like for instance, Muhammad.
Of course it does. That's what's called miracles.
Right. Well.
So you're saying it's an anomaly in the uniformity of nature.
Yeah, isn't that like an intervention of God to make something slightly different?
Okay.
Right.
And you're saying that's impossible?
Well, if our understanding of reality proves correct, then yeah, it is. It is.
So you're saying we cannot have a piece of data which goes against previous uniformity?
I don't understand that. Sorry, can you break?
What you were saying was this: it breaks the laws of nature, miracle.
Yes.
Okay? The laws of nature are based upon what?
Observation.
Observation. And can you not get a new observation which can challenge your previous theories?
Well, you can within reason, yeah.
Yep.
But like
Therefore,
a horse with wings falls outside
Therefore,
of that.
Let's agree on a concept first. Therefore, you just contradicted yourself.
Did I?
Yeah. Because you said a miracle, by definition, is an anomaly to the laws of nature. Correct? Okay. Put it in your own words. I'll wait for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, in science, we make observations and we make generalizations based upon those observations, correct?
Yeah.
True. True. Now we can have an observation which can challenge our previous theories, correct?
Yes.
So therefore, you just contradicted yourself.
All right, fine. Yeah. But I maintain that my point, my initial point though was the grand contraries to our understanding of reality. Like yes. We can have something which slightly alters, because science is a progression, but you can't have something...
Science is not a progression. Who told you it's a progression?
Yeah, of course it is. It's very, very unlikely that something's going to come along which will flip a scientific law on its head. Happens, but...
Wait, hang on. That was one contradiction. Let me just show you another. We had the Newtonian model of the universe, right? That time and space are fixed, and gravity is a pulling force. And in the beginning of the 20th century, the Newtonian model of the universe had worked approximately for 200 years.
Yeah.
Based upon induction, it was reconfirmed for about 200 years.
Right.
Einstein came along and Niels Bohr came along with general relativity and quantum mechanics, and they smashed it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So
but
we
where
can
would
have
they be without Newton?
No, we can have a paradigm shift in science. There's nothing wrong with that.
Where would they be, like Newton, standing on the shoulders of giants? Right? Where would Einstein be without Newton?
Where would Einstein be without Newton?
Yeah.
That's a side issue.
Well, that's the point I'm making.
No, the point you're making is this. You believe that science leads to truth, essentially. That's what you believe.
Yeah.
Okay? The problem with that belief is you can always have a new observation which can challenge your previous conclusion.
That's wonderful. I think that's fantastic.
So therefore science doesn't lead to truth.
Well, it leads to our best understanding of currents. It's called
Our best understanding of what? Reality?
Sorry, I want to interrupt a bit.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? Like, we use science to put planes in the sky. It works.
Okay, that's a very good point. We went to the moon based upon Newtonian mechanics, right? Now, we went to the moon based upon Newtonian mechanics, and Newtonian mechanics assume time and space is fixed and gravity is a pulling force. Einstein came along with general relativity and showed time and space are not fixed, they're actually relative, and gravity is not a pulling force, it's actually a pushing force due to space-time curvature. So although Newton's laws, they helped us get to the moon, they worked, it wasn't true that the Newtonian model was actually the best representation of reality. So science works, it doesn't mean it's true.
Right.
There's a difference between the two.
Right, I am out of my depth because I don't know anything about quantum mechanics.
No, you don't need to know anything about quantum mechanics. All you need to know is just because something works doesn't mean it's true.
Okay. Right, so...
Because that was your claim that planes are in the sky, medicine works, therefore science works, therefore it's true. The fact of the matter is, something working doesn't mean it's true, it just means it works.
Yeah.
For example, there's a philosopher called Larry Loudon. He's written a philosophical paper in which he put together 30 empirically successful theories which turned out to be false, right? These are theories which continuously worked. And even today in science, if you go up to any physicist and you say to him, do you believe in general relativity? He'll say yes. Do you believe in quantum mechanics? He'll say yes. Yet both these theories contradict each other at a fundamental level, which is why they're trying to come up with some sort of compromise like quantum gravity. So just because something works doesn't mean it's true.
Right.
And science is not the best representation of reality. That's a metaphysical claim, so by definition, that claim is false. It's self-refuting. If you say science is the best representation of reality, you've already disproven that claim. Do you understand what I said?
Yeah, I do. But I still maintain my position that science is the best representation of
Okay, so
reality.
that statement, science is the best representation of truth. That statement, can you empirically test that statement?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, using the scientific method.
If you manage to do that, you will win the Nobel Prize. I promise you. Do you know why? Because that statement is a self-refuting statement. Because this statement cannot be tested, it is a metaphysical statement, meaning beyond science. And you can give me half the money when you win the Nobel Prize. I'm going to make a claim though. I'm going to make a new claim.
Go on then.
The new claim I'm going to make is the best way we can arrive at truth is not science, it's actually by using logic. That's my claim.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Science is based upon mathematics, logic, testimony, self-evident truths like the world is real. But science cannot prove these things, these are foundational. So when it comes to the belief in God or the belief in morality, like we were having a discussion about morality before, we cannot use science, we have to use metaphysics. We have to use something beyond science. We have to use what science is based upon, which is reason and logic.
I haven't got to Kant in the podcast yet. But
Sorry?
Because
earlier we were speaking about morality, and there was a sort of finger pointing, this is wrong, but you can never show that's wrong scientifically.
No,
like,
you can't.
Sorry?
No, you can't. It's based on suffering and empathy. That's why I get my moral compass from.
Suffering and empathy.
Yeah.
Those are values. You have to break down those values into something else.
Well,
Those are. What's the lowest common denominator to those values?
I don't understand
Okay.
the question.
Do you believe in God?
No.
No. Okay. Do you believe we evolved via Darwinian mechanism?
Yes.
So that's how we evolved. Okay. So if that's the case, then our morality is subjective, is based upon biology.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know what Darwin said about that?
إذا أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والتعليق، ولكي يصلك كل جديد اشترك الآن.